Real quick guys, if you guys wouldn't mind, please be sure to consider going down your item shop and typing in BAY for your supported creator code, BEY, and then clicking accept. This will support me greatly and it will not cost you anything, so please be sure to do this, and let's get right into the video. Hey, what's up guys? In this video today, we're going to be talking about the interesting topic of how many times have you guys gotten into a fight where you should have won? You had the upper hand, you basically had all the damage on the opponent, you were the better player, you were doing everything right, and then all of a sudden one stupid thing happened and you lost the fight. Maybe it was because you missed your shots, or maybe it was because they hit a lucky 200 pump, but maybe it wasn't lucky. Maybe you did something wrong and that's why you lost that fight. And a lot of times you'll lose fights that you get destroyed in, but those are still fights that you should have won because you have better circumstances than them. Whether you have better weapons, you have high ground, you have better positioning, or you have a better angle or opportunity to beat them, but you still end up losing. In this video today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going over how you guys can stop losing these fights that you should be winning and basically increase your chances of winning every single fight that you get into. This happens a lot in Fortnite where you just like get angry after your fight because you're like, wow dude, I really should have won that, and you get pissed off and you want to get off just because of how dumb it was that you lost a fight that you really should have won. And so let's get into this video and let me start telling you guys what you can do to stop losing these kinds of fights. The first thing that most of these situations come down to is your aim. Whether you choke and you make a mistake with your aim or you just miss your shots, a lot of times what will happen is you guys are in a fight and you're doing well or maybe not so well, but the main problem that you run into is that your aim starts becoming off and you can't hit your shots, your bloom isn't working, nothing is working, whether it's with an AR, an SMG, or a pump shotgun, none of your shots are landing, and when they do, they hit for 20, 30, or even less, while your opponent is hitting you for massive amounts of damage. These kinds of situations can be frustrating and very common in Fortnite because Fortnite is a very aim intensive game. The first tip I have for you guys to stop making this mistake and basically running into this common problem is to lower your sensitivity. If you find that you're missing shots that you should be hitting, or you find that you're not aiming as well as you used to be, lower your sense. I know it's important this season to have higher sensitivities and be able to build, edit, turn fast, and basically keep up with your opponents, but if you find that you're struggling to flick and you're struggling to hit your shots, guys, you have to be willing to lower your sensitivity because in the end your aim is the most important aspect of your gameplay. No matter how well you can build, no matter how well you can edit, and no matter how well you can play, if you can't aim well and you can't hit your shots, nothing matters because you can't put on the damage that you need to put on to end the fight. So lower your aim and focus on hitting your shots more with that new sensitivity. The reason we lower it is because lowering your aim will make it much more easier to control and much more easier to track your opponent rather than having to rely on your muscle memory and having to basically just be a little bit lucky with your shots rather than just coordinating and using your reaction time and your actual aim. Now, the second important tip I have, and one thing that happens very commonly, is choking, especially when you're playing against really good players or players that are of high skill or players that just put you under pressure. A lot of times players aren't really that good, but what will happen is they'll put you under a ton of pressure because of the situation that you're in, and whether they're just W keying you and just spraying at you with a weapon, it doesn't always matter if they're good. Anyone can put you under pressure. If someone's running at you with a tac shotgun, they jump into your box, or if someone starts throwing grenades at you out of nowhere, or if they just start spraying you with an AR or anything like that, you can get under pressure, so you need to be able to cool down and not let that pressure get to you. One of the best ways to do this is by just slowing down for a second and basically holding your walls and creating a plan of action. Plan of action is something you're going to be doing as soon as that opponent makes their move. So let's say all they're trying to do is break through your ramp and get to you. Instead of panicking and just trying to hold them on the other side, get ready to let them into your ramp and basically let them come straight to you. Have your shotgun out or have your SMG out and then laser them more than they can laser you. This is one really good situation and one really good example of what you can do if you're under pressure, is basically use that pressure that they're using on you against them. Because a lot of times when an opponent is applying pressure, what they're doing is they're blindly pushing you and they're giving you an opportunity to take advantage of them and basically use that chance to put more damage on them and get the advantage in the fight. The really good strategy for not choking is basically find scenarios that you find yourself making mistakes under. If you find that you're not that good when an opponent is spraying at you, go into a creative lobby with your friend, box up and have them run at you with their SMG, and just basically practice any kinds of scenarios that put you under pressure that you're not comfortable under. What this is known as is something called exposure therapy. Exposure therapy puts you under stressful scenarios multiple times to the point where you become used to them, and you develop strategies to become calm and composed, and also you develop ways to defeat things that stress you out. Using this exposure therapy is a great way to become better at Fortnite in areas that you lack, and it's a great way to stop becoming stressed and basically choking during your fights. Choking is a big problem for many players, but a lot of times what you'll find is that the pros and the best of the best never choke under stressful scenarios, and when they do, they become very irritated because they're very adept to not choking, and they're used to being players that are confident in their abilities. So as you guys can probably tell by now, choking is a big problem. It's something that you can easily fix by just thinking a little bit, practicing, exposing yourself to that stress, and finding ways to get around it by basically utilizing your own skills, your own chances to take damage, and by just practicing these over and over again. Another thing that really messes people up and makes them lose fights that they should have won is second guessing themselves and not knowing what they're trying to do. Being someone that is very conflicted and confused during a fight or during a match can be very bad. And the reason this happens a lot is because opponents, or you're not sure, the person isn't sure what they want to do in their game. They're not sure if they want to be passive. They're not sure if they want to be aggressive. They're not sure if they want a W key. And if they are sure, they don't necessarily know if what they're doing is the best option, so they're not confident in what they're doing. And what this does is it makes you double-sided, and it makes you second guess yourself in the middle of fights, which is a very dangerous move. Second guessing your moves and second guessing what you're going to be doing can cause you to make fatal errors in fights that will make big issues come up. As you guys can see in this part of the match, I land in this area and this person gets this chest. I know that they're getting this chest, but I instantly have a backup plan and I don't let that get to me. And another thing is, I know that they're running up behind me with a weapon, but that doesn't pressure me and it doesn't put me in a situation where I'm stressed that will make me miss and basically mess up my aim. I take my time with my aim, I turn around, I slowly adjust my aim onto the person's head, and I take the shot and take them out with ease. This is a good example of not getting stressed out with scenarios that could be pressure, that could put pressure on you. And this is a really good example of something that can happen to you in game where your landing gets scuffed and you need to make a quick decision and basically work around whatever it is that you're dealing with. In Arena, more than anything, a lot of players are going to be insanely talented and very good. This means that they're going to be making very good decisions that are going to challenge your decisions. That means that every single decision you make and every single move you make will have to do with how successful you're going to be during that match. It's not as easy as pubs or as other types of game modes where your mistakes will not always cause you to lose and they will not always be fatal in your life during your game. But when you're playing against opponents that are extremely talented, they're going to be taking advantage of every single mistake that you make, and they're going to be trying to use it against you to get an advantage. And this is why you need to keep a level head during the entire game, and you need to make sure that you're making the right calls and the right decisions. If an opponent gets the first shot on you, don't panic, don't rush to heal up, and don't feel like you have to do anything that isn't always in the best case for you. If you feel like you're low on health, but you have a really good opportunity to take a shot that could put a lot of damage on your opponent, take it. Don't feel like you have to heal up first. Don't feel like you're entitled to do anything based on your circumstances in the game. Make decisions based on what you think is right at that moment, and don't just do something because you feel like you have to because you're not confident in your ability to stay alive. Having low health doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to land a 200 pump shot, or that you're not going to be able to end the fight before the opponent gets a shot on you. So always keep yourself confident and always believe in your ability to take down your opponents when you have to, and I promise your gameplay will improve greatly just by that one simple mentality change. And I've basically gone over some amazing tips in this video for you guys to not lose fights that you should have won, but one final suggestion that I have is find a pro player that has a playstyle that's very similar to yours. Once you've found this player, pay attention to how they play and how they react to certain scenarios that may stress you out or scenarios that you may find hard to basically operate in, and see what they do. People's playstyles are very different, and yours is too. So my tips are very good for all of the playstyles in general, but if you want to take this to the next level and you really want to just become as best as you possibly can be, find a pro player that is similar to your playstyle and learn the ways that they use to basically dominate their opponents in stressful situations and in situations that you might find yourself struggling in. And yeah guys, that's all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to use code BAY in your item shop.